because that's the way I felt. I felt forgotten. You know, like you live with people for 24 hours a day, and you're with them the whole time, and then all of a sudden they're gone.
Because the work comp system for first responders in general, police and fire, they just delay you your treatment, and the physical disabilities and the psychological issues that come with that. You know, that's how I got involved with this.
It just blows my mind that somebody can approve or deny something they know nothing about. Like, that's not their area of expertise. That'd be like me trying to tell you guys how to enter a building on fire. I have no idea.
How many times have we had a guy retire or leave, and how quick are their name taken off the watch board, right? I mean, it sucks to say this, but the job goes on, you know, and they're going to find somebody to fill that spot.
Welcome to the first episode of the Forgotten Firefighters show. I'm your host, Jared Rockhold. I get the honor today to sit here with three Dallas firemen that make up the board of the Forgotten Firefighters Non Profit. I've got Josh Hogan, I've got Lydon Reed, and Stephen Hargrove with me. And what I'd like to do to start with is each of you kind of give a brief rundown of your background and where you're at, and then how this nonprofit came to be and what the mission of that is. So any of you can start.
I'll start off. I'm Stephen Hargrove, and I am a captain for the Dallas Fire Department. I have been with the department for 16 years. I'm currently 46 years old. When I was 26 years old, up until that point, I'd had a slew of different jobs. I didn't know what I wanted to do. And at the time, I was actually working the door at a biker bar.
Nice.
I was security at a biker bar.
Did you have hair then or no?
I had hair and a long beard before everybody had beards and they were cool, you know. Anyways, so I was working security at a biker bar, and I'd been just in manual labor. I'd been a waiter. I'd been a bartender. And one day, I was actually with my mother in the car, and there was this house on fire in Fort Worth, and I saw this engine pull up fast, and they took off the hose fast. They got all their gear on fast, and they just went inside, and I just kind of made up my mind. It was like a light bulb went off.
Right.
And I said, I'm going to do that. And I set out to do it, and I did. And then at the time, you can attest to this, I think the two of y'all, at the time, and I asked a guy who was a Fort Worth firefighter who I grew up across the street from, I said, all right, how do I do this? And at the time, you had to be a paramedic before that was like your golden ticket.
Right. Yeah, oh, yeah. You got brownie points for sure.
Exactly. And he said, you need to go to paramedic school. So I went to Tarrant County College. I said, I need to sign up for paramedic school. And they said, well, you got to be an EMT first. And I was like, oh. Anyways, long story short, I went to night school for EMT, my paramedic school, which was actually 16 months long. And then I went to Fire Academy after that. And that whole process took me about 3 years. And then I applied for Dallas and been there ever since. It's an awesome job. And just through happenstance, the three of us at this table, we were all in rookie school together.
Yep. And you were the old one.
I was. I was 30 years old when I started. So I got a bit of a late start. These two young fellows over here, they were still bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. I was a little more seasoned, I guess you could say.
Yeah. So 30's kind of a late start point in that career.
Yeah, I personally think it's about the latest you should start. They allow you to go 36, start at 36 now. Even those lateral programs are even, I think it's older, 40, 45. But I was 30 years old. So that's how I got started.
I'm Lydon Reed. I'm a fireman in Dallas as well. I guess I started. I always wanted to be a fireman. Always had that want to and desire. But I had, I'd always been told it's too hard to get on. You're never going to make it. It's just, there's so many people that want to do it. It's too hard. Don't waste your time. So I didn't. So I did other stuff. I was a welder. I worked on some ranches. I did all that stuff for a while. And then, I was like, I got to do something, So I was like, I don't want to be in an office or inside all the time. I like being outside. And I like, ranching and cattle and horses. And I wanted to be able to do some of that and have time to do that. So I was like, well, shoot, okay, if I can't do that, I'll go, what else can I do? It's like, I'll go to nursing school. So it's like, I'll go to nursing school. That way I can work 3 days, have 4 days off, do what I want to do. And
I didn't know you wanted to be a nurse.
I didn't want to be a nurse. Yeah. I wanted the time.
I'd have kept that to myself.
No, I've never heard that before.
So that's what happened. I applied and I went into class and I was there for about a week and I said, I am not going to do this. So I quit that. And then, I started dating my wife. Well, prior to being my wife, I started dating her and I was like, and she knew all this. She knew I wanted to do this. She goes, why don't you try it? And I said, you know what? I'm going to, because at least I can say I tried and I failed rather than I never tried at all. So I did the same thing kind of you did. I put myself through a fire academy, through an EMT school, did all that. And the instructors there told me test everywhere that's testing, because that way you can figure out what the tests are like. You can go apply. You can do all these things, kind of get all that under your belt. So I did. And my first test was in Dallas. And I went to Dallas and I tested. And then the hiring process back then was like 8 months long, right?
8 or 9 months.
8 or 9 months.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
test in March, get hired in October.
yeah. So I tested, did fairly well on the written, went to the next step. I mean, there were several different steps to get through, but shoot, I ended up being a Dallas fireman. My wife was not happy because she thought I was going to be like small town fireman or something like that, close to home. And then I'm Dallas, and I've been there for 16 years now and love the department and wouldn't want to do anything else.
Perfect.
Well, Josh Hogan, I'm a lieutenant with the Dallas Fire Department. Like they said, we were all three at rookie school together. I was in school. It's all I've ever wanted to be as well. Got hired while I was in school, which my mom wasn't too happy about that I quit going to school to do this. But come from a long line of
College,
cops.
Not high school, right?
College, yeah, not high school. Okay. Yeah. Come from a long line of cops, except for my uncle, who's a recently retired Dallas fireman. Me and him were the only two that decided not to be cops. Dad's a retired cop, did a lot of narcotic stuff back in the day, but was in college, went to fire academy, found one, went to that also to help, because same deal back then, 16 years ago, you could go take a test in Garland or Fort Worth and there'd be thousands of people there.
Oh yeah.
And
they're hiring a few, so it was,
when we took our test, we filled up the convention center room with 3 people to a table.
There's thousands of people there.
Yeah.
Wow.
And maybe hire for, 40, 50 spots.
Yeah.
So being fire certified already would help. And I started the same thing, just taking tests in every city I could find, within driving distance, I guess, hour and a half or so of my house. And took several tests and, always wanted to be in Dallas because of my uncle. So that was always going to try to be the game plan, even if I went somewhere else, leave and come to Dallas. But yeah, so that's it. 16 years ago.
October 29th.
29th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. So Dallas, Dallas is kind of like it, man, I'm on the outside of this. Dallas is kind of your top graduates, your elite guys that pass the test that are, you've got most of your guys are high end individuals. Would that be a fair statement?
Yeah, we're a very large department. So if
we have a lot to offer.
My feeling on it is this: if you actually want to go do the stuff that people see on TV,
yeah,
all the crazy stuff, the best chance you're going to have for it's in Dallas. and
Any major
big
city.
major
Any
metropolitan
major
city.
And that's not a
Exactly.
knock against smaller
not at all.
suburbs. They're just not as densely populated, and
Yeah.
they don't have the stuff there. The
We
infrastructure.
just make a lot more calls than they do.
Correct. Yeah.
Exactly.
You know,
You got action pretty much all the time, 24 hours.
there's
a day.
always something.
Yeah.
Yeah, unlike fires, for in general, fires. I mean, people are not fighting fires like they did in the 60s and 70s. That's just the reality of it. But when you take us versus a suburb, I mean, we get more experience in the first couple of years than these other suburbs do in 20.
And it's nothing against them.
No,
They just
nothing
don't,
against them.
They just
Yeah.
don't get the opportunity. You know, we're just thrown in there, and it just happens. You know.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things. It's not emotional. It's just math. So you've got a lot more population. You're going to have a lot more stuff going on.
So many people drive through there every day. You know, it never stops.
Right. So going forward from that, so the reason we're here, the Forgotten Firefighters name, it's a nonprofit. It's a 501c3 in the state of Texas. I'd like to get into where that came about, what exactly transpired to get us to where we're at.
I'll start on this. So
Yeah.
I'd say, so I got injured November of 2016. I got hurt, hurt my back, on duty at the station. And, you know, I wasn't going to do anything. I was just going to go home, deal with it. You know, us being firemen, I mean, we're a little prideful at times. You know, we work a lot injured. We do things injured, and that's just part of it, you know. But I hurt my back, and my officer at the time said, "Look, you need to fill out paperwork." And I was like, "Man, I don't want to fill out paperwork. You know, I don't want to do it." He's like, "You need to fill out paperwork." So I did, and filled out paperwork, sent home. You know, I went to. They send you when you get hurt on the job. They send you to like a doc in the box, a Concentra or something smaller that just like a little clinic that sees people. So you go in there initially, and they say, "Okay, you got a back strain," and then work comp has a protocol for certain injuries. So you get a back injury, you've got so many sessions of PT. That's how they start. So
Yeah.
they'll start with that, go through that, you do this, then we'll see how you go. And then from there, there's another step. It's just a step process. But so that happened with me, and then I wasn't getting any better. PT said, "Look, I can't fix you," you know. So then they sent you on, and needless to say, it took a long time to get the treatment I needed. So I felt kind of like the name Forgotten Firefighters. Like I was off of work. I didn't even go light duty. I couldn't even go. I was doped up on so many drugs that I was off work for over a year. I would have to look and see exactly the date I went back to work, but I was off over a year injured. And, you know, so that's a long time, and it's depressing, a lot of stuff like that. But I felt we came up with this name, you know, in the truck one day, Forgotten Firefighters. And because that's the way I felt forgotten, you know, like you live with people for 24 hours a day and you're with them the whole time. And then all of a sudden they're gone, you know? So you spend more time with these guys than you do your family for the most part, because you work 24 with them, and then you're at home for 2 days, but you're not with your family the whole 24 hours.
Your family's
every day.
going to school. They've got
So
jobs.
they are your family.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
And so once you lose that, you kind of feel forgotten, man. I mean, you don't get to see people you see. You don't get to cut up and hang out. I mean, there's a lot of fun had at a fire station.
Yeah.
So you miss that part of it. And then so I was off for a while, and then talked to some other people that were hurt, and we had all been kind of dealing with some issues with the work comp system. And then Steve-O got hurt, and so that kind of brought him on board.
Yeah.
And so then I didn't feel so forgotten. I had somebody, I hate to say that, but I had somebody close to me that kind of knew what it felt like at that point.
Yeah, you're kind of going through the same mental
because
situation.
100%. Because, Lydon and I, we were on full duty status, which means you're at the station. You're actually doing the job that we set out to do.
Right.
And now we're both restricted and we're not allowed in the field.
Right.
And, when Lydon got placed on that in 2017, because you hurt your back in 2016, right?
It got placed on that in 2018.
2018, so it took him 2 years.
Well, it wasn't exactly. I mean,
Yeah.
it was the end of 2016. I finally got placed on that like the beginning of 2018.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if we back up, when you're basically at home and you can't go to work, you're sitting
Right.
there. What does that look like from a income standpoint? Because you still got
you don't receive your full paycheck. And as far as I go, most firemen, I would say in general, have something else they do.
Right.
Like we don't sit around.
Yeah.
In most cases, nothing against that, but most of us don't sit around and don't do anything. Most guys got side jobs.
We all three have.
They
side
have
jobs.
other businesses. So I had other jobs, I had stuff I did, and it's a beating. Learning how to do that and the depression you go through and the things you go through, not being able to do anything, because you're supposed to be at home from 8 to 5, unless you're going to the doctor or picking up a prescription or whatever.
Okay.
You're supposed to be at your house.
right. So there's a protocol there for
Yes.
you
Yeah.
have to follow that.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And so I got hurt actually August 23rd of last year. We were at a fire. It was, if it wasn't the hottest day of the year, it was the second or third. It was 100. I think it was 109 degrees when that fire came in. It was about 3:30 in the afternoon, and it was in an attic. We thought it was an attic. I got up there and was looking for it. Found that it was actually on the second floor in a wall. But I got up there with my imager. We have those thermal imagers that show us where the fire is, the heat is. So I radioed down to the chief and I said, "Chief, this thing ain't even here. It's on the second floor." And I was starting to make my way down, and they had already pulled. So when we have a fire, like you see these tiles in here, let's say it was in the attic. Well, they'll come in there and pull everything. So it's just joists, and it's opened up. And I went to make my way down, and I just missed. And I fell through, and I tried to, and it was a lot higher ceiling than what we have in here. I tried to catch myself with my left hand, jerked it, and I came down and tibialis fibulus fracture.
Okay.
All the tendons and ligaments in my left ankle got blown out. Got transported to a hospital. They had me scheduled for surgery the next day because I needed surgery. I had to have surgery. It was not going to heal on its own.
Yeah, of course.
And I called our work comp people, and I said, they have me scheduled for surgery tomorrow. And the work comp people said, "Hey, they're not in network. You can't go to them."
Okay.
And I said, "All right, I guess I'll just wait till y'all find somebody in network." So I was in bedridden for 3 weeks. I mean, my foot was just hanging off. I couldn't even move it back,
No surgery at that point. No, nothing. Like,
No.
good grief.
Yeah. So I was in bed 3 weeks. They finally got me to an orthopedic who's an awesome guy. I don't want to really say his name on here, but he's on our side, so to speak. And I got to him, and he couldn't do surgery on me for another 2 weeks. So I was bedridden for 5 weeks. Had the surgery. Surgery was good. And as fate would have it, at 5 weeks post-op, which was actually September 30th, which is today. Today is the exact 1 year anniversary when I had a blood clot, DVT, that formed in my leg because I'd been in bed so long, and it broke off, and I had pulmonary embolisms in 3 out of my 5 lobes, and they were all occlusive, and it almost got me.
Yeah.
And just to let the general public know, we're 1 year since I've had those, and I still have yet to have my lungs scanned from a doctor. We're at a 1 year. I mean, we're at the 1 year anniversary of that happening.
Literally today.
Literally today, And because the work comp system for first responders in general, police and fire, they just delay your treatment. And the physical disabilities and the psychological issues that come with that. That's how I got involved with this. And I remembered Lydon, and we had a lieutenant, all three of us, that we had worked under at some time. Mm-hmm. Mine wasn't for long, but it was my first day in the field, and I knew him well because he was in our district.
And he was a good one.
He was a great one. He had broken his neck at the station and was denied, and maybe he'll get on here at some point, maybe he won't. But I knew him, and I knew Lydon and his story, and they were stories which, I'd always remembered, and even looking back on it now, I kind of feel guilty because until it happens to you, you don't know. Would you agree with that, Lydon?
Oh yeah, like you're just ignorant.
Exactly.
And that I think is part of why we want to do this.
100%.
We want to get it out there, let other people know about it, but also be there to help and support guys through the process so they don't have to go through it like we did. They don't have to be alone in it. They don't have to feel like they've got somebody, you know, and that's what I was lacking then. I didn't, I knew guys got hurt, but a lot of guys would get fixed up pretty well or get back to it or whatever. But there are times it doesn't work that way. Mm-hmm.
But I personally feel like if I'd been allowed to have that surgery the next day, like what the emergency room had scheduled at their surgery center the next morning, that I wouldn't be in this seat today, and
neither would I,
and neither would you. Exactly.
I mean, you've got a surgery center qualified technicians telling you need surgery.
Yeah, and
the next day.
Yes,
and that wasn't allowed to happen.
No, in fact, it's the number one hospital here in North Texas, in my opinion. We're not going to say their name, but and with Lydon, tell them how many times. Tell them a little bit about your process of them denying your surgery over and over again.
So I wasn't going to go into a whole lot of detail on this, but
I think it's important.
So once they finally figured out, hey, this PT, this stuff isn't going to work. Finally, they sent me, had CT, had MRIs, all that stuff. Well, come back with the results. I've got these herniated discs. There's no fixing them without surgery. And so they say work comp makes an appointment for me with this surgeon. So they send me to the surgeon. He looks at everything, said, you need surgery. I said, okay. So he said, he submits surgery for surgery for me, and it goes to work comp. It comes back, and I go back to the doctor, and he said, you were denied. I said, why? He goes, I don't know. So he submits for surgery again, and it comes back. He says, you were denied again. I said, why? He said, I don't know, because this is my specialty, and I see this, and this is what I do, and I have no idea why you're denied. So the work comp system at that point says, you know what? Hey, go see this surgeon. So work comp gave me all these doctors. They're not doctors I picked. They picked them for me.
Okay.
So they sent me to another one. Same thing happened. Submit, deny, submit, deny. Go see this surgeon. I can't tell you how many surgeons I went to. Every one of them said I needed surgery. Every one I was denied twice, except for the last one. And that was almost exactly a year to the date of my injury. So I had these nerves pinched going down my leg, and that's why I'm fully restricted. I've got nerve damage due to delay of treatment. And so that's why I'm where I'm at. I still do stuff, I mean,
right.
Do I hurt? Yes. Do I have issues? Yes. But I'm not where I can't do anything, but the nerve damage is a liability now. So, that's how I got where I am. That's being fully restricted.
Well, and also as you get older, injuries like that don't get better over time.
Right.
Once
And
it's that bad.
I guess I got hurt when I was, 16. I would have been right at 30 years old when I got injured initially. So.
Yeah. And like the Forgotten Firefighters Foundation, what we're really trying to just bring awareness to the public, because they have no idea that things like this happen. And what we're trying to let the public know is that Lydon and myself, what happened to us, these aren't isolated incidents.
This is standard operating procedure.
100% for cops and firefighters in the state of Texas. Anytime you get seriously hurt on duty, and this is the system that we're in, and our mission really is to bring awareness to the public and ultimately get these laws and the system fixed for the future generations of firefighters and police officers.
Right, which we've had some meetings with
a couple of senators,
and so that's one of our, I would say, main focuses, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
So is getting some legislation changes, getting some things like this to expedite treatment for first responders rather than delay of treatment. And because a lot of times delay of treatment leads to permanent damage, permanent injuries. And this isn't just for injuries. This is on the mental health side of it. I mean, as firemen, we can all attest, we've seen stuff that most people will never see and should never see. Would you all agree? And so,
yeah.
So that affects a lot of people, and it affects people different ways. There's a lot of firemen that have mental health issues, or a lot of firemen who have committed suicide. I mean, it's the downside of it. So we want to be able to help with that any way we can.
Yeah. So, I mean, really affecting change is not so much the department itself as it is the legal side
aspect.
and legislation that is causing these holdbacks and in the workers' comp area and all that. So basically giving them leadway to deny you.
Delay and deny.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Makes sense there. So with the foundation, as we go through that process, and we've got, people who want to donate, we're raising funds and we're doing things to make that happen. Like the overall goals and aspects of where that money's going to serve purpose is going to be getting guys to these legislation meetings. But a lot of it's going to be for people that are injured or have been injured that need financial help because they're struggling.
100%.
That, or get them in touch with somebody who has been through the same thing as well.
Yeah.
Through our insurance stuff, they have resources for guys to reach out for mental health, one is therapists and everything else. But one of these guys right here, they're not going to reach out and talk to a therapist who hasn't been through the injury process and everything else. So
right.
Allowing those guys, putting them in touch with one of these two or somebody else, that comes along later down the line, that's part of it as well. Getting them to the right doctors or anything like that.
Yeah, really creating a network, so to speak.
Correct.
Yeah.
Because even the mental health side of it, like work comp has to approve that you have a mental health issue or your claim's denied.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing as an injury.
And it's a hard approval process.
Very difficult.
It's like what Hogan here was talking about. A lot of us don't want to come forward and say what's going on mentally with us,
Right.
But when we have members who actually do, they're denied more often than not. And that just falls in line with the way the system is.
Yeah, I mean, if you're in the department, that those guys are getting denied and you need that help, what's the point in saying anything?
Yeah.
I mean,
100%.
That's crazy.
And Steve-O and I've talked quite a bit, but Josh, he hasn't been injured like we have. Not that he hasn't had any injuries, but he's got, he sees it all the time and he still gets to be in the field. So he is a great avenue and resource for people. And, he's got a totally different side of it. He saw us go through it and sees other people continue to go through it. So, he has different insight than even we do, because we were injured.
Been lucky.
Yeah.
You have been.
But there's a lot of different aspects and the ways that affects people that I think, we should talk about now, like cancer for firefighters. I mean, cancer, we're very prone to coming down with occupational cancer.
What are the statistics on it? 6 or 7 out of 10, something like that? I mean, it's super high. It'll get some type of cancer.
It's very high. And we have members all the time who get these occupational cancers, which are actually listed as covered cancers by state law. And when they turn in their work comp paperwork, they're denied for it. Even if it's even if it says yes, so I guess this is a good time to get into this.
Yeah. Great.
So Dallas, and first of all, let me just say that the Dallas Fire Department has been very good to us. Would you agree with that?
Agreed. Yes.
Lydon?
Yes.
We are not here to run down the Dallas Fire Department. The Dallas Fire Department, I think we're lucky in that aspect that we worked for Dallas because they've given us a job. I'm in staff now. Lydon's in dispatch, and it's not the career that we set out to do.
No, I mean, if I wanted to look at computers, I would have done something else.
Yeah,
I'm the same way, man.
I'm not very tech savvy.
Yeah, but they have really taken care of us. But these third-party entities, these risk asset managers that work for these cities, the big cities in Texas, they are self-insured.
Okay.
And so that plays out like this. These third-party risk asset managers, because they work for these municipalities, these governmental entities, they get qualified immunity. So they can only be sued for so much.
Okay.
It's $100,000. That's the max cap that they can be sued for. So they're going to take that bet every single time. And so they'll just deny, delay till you go away, basically. And anyways, so circling back to the cancer, and we can come back to that. So let's say a member let's say they get diagnosed with cancer, and we don't know the process. Let's say I come down with cancer.
Okay.
And I find out today, and it's September 30th. Let's say I'm really not knowing what to do. I'm talking to my cancer doctors, and then it hits me. My gosh, I probably got this at work. Let's say next month I try to file it. They'll say, nope, you didn't file within 30 days, denied. They'll say, nope, we have members that they say they're overweight and hypertensive, and they get denied for that, even though it's covered by state law. These listed cancers are covered, and they're still getting denied. There is a group of widows for the Dallas Fire Department, and they're called the Eternal Flames. And these are all widows of members of ours who died prematurely from occupational cancer.
Okay.
And what they went through to get the line of duty death benefits for themselves and their kids is horrific. And I think there's 2 members now that are still going through this process. I mean, they put them through the absolute ringer.
Well, if it's this hard to get,
and these are years after the fact.
Years after
the members died.
Yes. Sitting here thinking, if it's this hard to get medical treatment, while you're alive and you need surgery, I can't even imagine what they go through to get benefits for their family after the fact. And as your wife, knowing what to do, who to go to, who to reach out to,
right,
be a complete uphill battle in a lot of different directions.
Yeah, it's a shame.
So you were saying there's 30 days, I guess, from the time you find out that you have potential occupational cancer to file?
That you have to report that as a work comp injury.
Okay. So to the work comp. Okay.
Yes. And then let's say you do that. Well, a lot of times they're going to find a reason to deny you, even though it was covered under state presumptive law, even though you reported within 30 days, they're still going to deny them for a variety of reasons. And I think we can touch on this now. I think this is important also. Like Lydon, so let's take these cancer survivors. Let's take these widows. Not a single oncologist denied these cancer claims. These are like chiropractors,
Right.
gynecologists, med students even. They just have to be certified with the state. And even it doesn't matter how complex the injury or disease is, they'll find a reason to deny it. Like Lydon, who denied your neuro issue?
I had several different. I mean, you can and that's what's crazy about it is, so you have surgeons who their specialty is the field that you're trying to be treated for. Mine was back, okay?
Right.
And then I'm being denied by a gynecologist or a dermatologist who knows nothing about
So
my injury.
the person that's
Like-
responsible. Okay. Hang on.
Yeah.
The person responsible.
Yeah.
It's
for
crazy.
Approving or denying doesn't have to be a specialist in that arena.
Not at all.
Heck,
In fact, I would say 90+% of the time they're not
Correct.
a specialist in whatever aspect you're dealing with.
I mean, really, it makes sense if you don't think about it.
And I could see,
Yeah.
like, okay, you bring in another surgeon that deals with the exact same thing and let them say why I don't
Yeah.
need it. And
Okay.
let mine say why I do. But you don't get that. You just get denied.
Yeah.
And you don't know why. I mean, nobody knows why. You were denied. That's it.
So this is how it goes. Just denied.
Yeah.
Sorry about your bad luck.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm just blown away by the fact that
And
whoever-
nobody knows this. I didn't know this.
Yeah.
He didn't know this.
I don't think anybody knows.
Nobody knows.
Nobody does.
Unless you've been through it.
Right, unless you've been there. Yeah. So it just blows my mind that somebody can approve or deny something they have nothing about. Like, that's not their area of expertise. That'd be like me trying to tell you guys how to enter a building on fire. I have no idea. But if I'm on the ground and I can tell y'all, approve or deny on whether you can go in that building or not, that's ludicrous. I don't know. I bet we get a guy that knows what they're talking about.
Right.
That's just insane. Sorry, I had to go through that. That blew my mind.
No,
I was unaware, and I think that most people would be unaware of that situation. And so the same thing in talking about the occupational cancer, that's kind of the same issue.
Oh, 100%. So I know that because I went and spoke with them, like, I think it's been 2 or 3 months ago, but I believe there were 6 of them there that day. And of course it was all their husbands who had passed, and not a single oncologist had denied their husband's coverage. It was all different, like a chiropractor. One was actually a medical student who had gotten the certification. And these are complex cancers.
Yeah.
So I say all that to say, this is the reason why we're here. This is the reason why we're doing this podcast. That's the reason why we've started this foundation. It's because we just want to bring awareness to the public about this and try to make some just very meaningful change for not only firefighters. That is, of course, that's what we're geared towards because that's who we are, but first responders in general, because it affects both police and firefighters.
Yeah. Yeah, of course. I mean, you've got guys you got other cities, even people on the ambulance aren't firefighters. They still go through things. They still get injured and they still have these same issues. Like,
And I think, Josh could probably speak on this. Like, what do you still see now, or what did you see in us or guys that did get hurt? I mean, because you have a different perspective, not being the one injured. So I know that you saw the way we were, and we weren't the same people. I can tell you that.
You can tell that you go through a really dark time. You know, like you said, like you mentioned the name, you know, Forgotten. You know, I mean, because how many times have we had a guy retire or leave, and how quick are their name taken off the watch board, right? I mean, it sucks to say this, but the job goes on, you know, and they're going to find somebody to fill that spot. You know, it's a warm body in a spot in a seat, you know, and you know you've been replaced, you know. I think with both of y'all, you know, I don't know. I just tried to talk to y'all as much as I possibly could, you know, but I don't know. You see guys go through really dark times.
Yeah.
You know, thinking that nobody cares about them anymore. Somebody's replaced them, and, you know, it is what it is.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure there's, you know, with those injuries, there's not everybody in the department's going to understand what you're going through. Like, you know, there's got to be some sort of situational in the workplace too, of just guys that may not even believe you,
Right.
you know, and trying to go through that. Like, yeah.
Well, it's tough. You know, it can be that way. I can definitely see that side of it for guys that, you know, you were at the station with, or other guys out there, because if you're hurt, why aren't they doing anything? Why aren't you getting surgery? Why aren't you doing this? You know,
Yeah.
I totally get it. Like,
From the
because
outside,
it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
It does. I mean,
It doesn't.
no, it can't make
because
sense.
you've got proof. You've got these things. You've got doctors saying that you need it, but you're not getting it. So, yeah, I mean, it's human nature to question. Like,
Yeah.
no hard feelings or ill regards to anybody, but that's part of it. They're like, you know, they don't believe you. You
Yeah.
tell them that, but they don't see that. They don't see your CT scans. They don't see these things. They don't know that you go to the doctor 4 times a week. You know, they don't know that they send you for psych evals. They don't, you know, other than what you tell them. But yeah, I mean, 100% get where they're coming from. But that's why another reason we want to do this,
Yeah.
so that we can help. We can let other people, even if you're not injured, have a knowledge base of what actually goes on. Like, because your perspective on it, I believe, would be different knowing than not knowing.
No, yeah.
If that makes sense.
Absolutely. I mean, I don't know how you can hear any of this and not want to try to make a difference.
So,
Try to make it better on guys coming in, guys are there, guys are in the process. I mean, just, it's unreal. I mean,
Yeah, and there's some absolute horror stories in this. I mean, Lydon and I, we went through what we went through, but I mean, I consider myself blessed to just, you know, still be in the department that I love,
absolutely.
being able to support the people in the field. But there are countless other first responders and firefighters specifically in the state of Texas that's been taken away from them.
Yeah. They've been terminated or lost their jobs, or
100%.
you know, due to this.
Yeah, and these smaller departments, if what had happened to Lydon and myself, if we had been in a smaller department, we would no longer be with those departments.
Yeah, they wouldn't.
They let you go.
Just because they don't have positions.
yeah,
They don't
I'm not
have
gonna have a
positions.
job for you.
Yeah,
They
we're
don't
the
have
largest
anything.
department.
If you can't do your job, you can't do your job, you know? Luckily, we're blessed enough to have a department that
Thousands
works
of
with
spots.
us, has thousands of availabilities and opportunities to be able to, you know what, we're going to take care of you. You can't do that job anymore. You can't be in the field. And that's hard. That's hard to hear. I mean,
That's what you
because
signed up for, was to go help
that's
people.
not, that's not what we want at all. We want to go back, you know,
Right.
we want to go be at the fire station.
Yeah.
And that's what we want to do. That's the job we signed up for. And when that gets taken away from you, luckily we had another opportunity to retain our job. Is it the job we signed up for? No, but we have one. We can support our families.
Yeah.
We can still be there helping any way we can. And that's where we are today.
Yeah, but I think another thing that needs to be brought up that people need to realize is that both with Lydon's case and myself, I mean, it's not 100%, but we're both fairly certain. Like in my case, if I'd had that surgery the next day, like I'd had private insurance, right?
Right.
Or Lydon had even gotten his back surgery done within 6 months, that we'd have been given a shot to go back to the field, and there's a pretty good chance that we would have gone back.
Oh, yes.
And because of those delays, that's
the delay of treatments
that's why we're sitting
made
here
me
today.
where I am now, yes.
Yeah.
I 100% believe that true. And,
and you've
doctors say that as well. So
you've got a life-altering injury because of that. You can be hurt, right? But get treatment fast enough, you got a lot higher odds of being pretty close to 100% and not being hurt the rest of your life.
Yeah, nerves don't do well pinched for long periods of time. I mean, that's just...
Well, and then also, I think from, I guess, my perspective on the outside is if you've got guys they get hurt in the field and it takes this long for them to get treated and to even remotely come back to work, they can't come back to being at the department, being full duty. That's also got to have... You're taking guys that have experience and veterans out of the field to help these younger guys coming in. So you're losing all that capability and that knowledge, which it can't be good for the department either. That's just my thought process.
Right.
You've got guys with experience, time served. You've got guys that have fought many fires, went after a bunch of people and saved lives, not there anymore to give that guidance and be a hand in those departments. You're doing something else, which just, again, I think it just also affects the department itself in general.
Yeah, I mean, just
Absolutely.
for like, you take Lydon, for example. Lydon was a heck of an asset out in the field. We said that we were all rookie school
Right.
buddies together. We went to rookie school together. Well, Lydon was chosen as the silver buckle winner of our class. And for everybody that doesn't know, the silver buckle winner is who we chose as the best.
Okay.
He's just crackerjack. He was built to be on an engine or truck.
Right.
When the department loses that because of delays, that just circles back to what you were saying.
Yeah.
They're losing some of the best, and
Losing
with
some of the best
Lydon, I think
assets.
that most definitely rings true.
Yeah. I mean, you're losing some of the best assets. I mean, you're going into a fire together. It's not a literal war, but it's a war. I mean, you're going into a building and you got to trust the guys around you and trust their experience and trust what they're going to do. And you're losing that. You're losing those guys because of nonsense.
Yeah. I can tell you this. Josh and I have been in quite a few fires together, and I'll say this, there's people that I trust my life with, and to y'all three, everybody sitting at this table, I do. But going into a fire, you want to know who you've got with you will do whatever it takes to get you out if something happens.
All right.
Because going in not knowing that makes it a lot harder to go in. But when you've got people you can rely on and trust, it makes a huge difference. And I never had to doubt that, at certain places. Never had to doubt it. But there are other times, you worry a little bit,
Yeah.
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 You're like, well, I don't know if we're going to make it out of this one, boys, But when you got certain guys in there, you're like, shoot, we can do anything.
Yeah.
You know, we can do anything.
You've got that team.
Yeah.
You've got the brotherhood and the team.
There's nothing going to stop us.
Yeah. Go do the job and get it done and get everybody home.
Yeah. That's the number one goal. Go home.
Yeah.
Go home.
Yeah, but with the the foundation, like you were touching on, we're bringing awareness to people that this is what's going on.
Yep.
We're advocating for all of us to members of Congress in the state of Texas, and then just financially helping out those members, those firefighters, and those police officers, first responders in general, specifically that are on a lot of these smaller departments that aren't getting that paycheck that we got when we were hurt, which we're lucky in that aspect. But there's countless others who they're not getting that paycheck that they were, and they're never going to get that again. And they're still being denied and delayed to this day. I've gotten letters from firefighters all over the state now, and they were in smaller to mid-sized departments, and some of these were self-insured departments. And what they're going through, I mean, they're permanently disabled. I mean, they wouldn't even be able to walk into this room and have this conversation. They had to be wheeled in. They are literally permanently disabled and living on a disability check from the government and having a hard time even making the payments for their medications, things like that. So we really want to be able to help people like that, Then to me, that's Exhibit A of somebody who's been forgotten.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So cause and effect. Like we want to push this, bring in funding, bring in change, really look after people that have suffered these really the consequences of what's happened and being denied, and push that forward, help those families, their wives, children, themselves. Just, I mean, be that voice and be the group that can make something happen. I'm just blown away by some of this stuff. And as we go forward into the next weeks of doing some of these videos with different guests, we're going to keep unboxing that. And it's going to get pretty emotional, but I'm hoping we can really push that out. You have anything to add?
No.
There's going to be some crazy stories, that are told, and as far as what people went through, I know that. But
some mind-blowing stories,
right? Yeah,
some that you're just like you're flabbergasted that the stuff they went through.
Yeah, I'll tell one now. So this happened in a major fire department here in the DFW Metroplex. And this was, I think, 5 years ago, something like that. But the laws as they stand, it's still the same system. There was a firefighter. So there was a homeless person. Is that the correct terminology? Unhoused person?
Unhoused, yeah, okay. Sure.
Urban explorer.
An urban explorer. There was a homeless person who had gotten in the top of a big grain silo. You've seen those big grain silos that are, 100 plus feet tall? And they had gotten up in the top of there and they'd fallen down to the bottom, and they had really injured themselves. So the fire department was called. It's called a high angle rescue. They got on the ropes. They went down there to get this individual. And in the process, it was dicey, and the firefighter ended up falling as well, injuring themselves very badly.
Okay.
These two, the homeless individual and the firefighter, were taken to the exact same trauma hospital. Same time. 2 ambulances came. They took them to the hospital. That homeless individual, within a week, had all their specialists assigned to them, had the surgeries necessary, made a full road to recovery within a short time period.
Okay.
that firefighter who was working for a self-insured large city in the state of Texas, they were delayed. They didn't get to specialists for months. They didn't have surgery for months. By the time they did get to the orthopedic surgeon, which was what was needed in this case, they had to go in and re-break the bones that had already started to heal in a deformed manner. And that firefighter to this day is permanently disabled. So I say that to say this. If that kind of situation happens today in any self-insured city in the state of Texas, you're going to see something like that play out once again.
And it's a shame.
So the guy getting rescued got his treatments.
Yes. Correct.
We can't really assume that person did or didn't have insurance, but regardless, they got their treatments.
Correct.
Yeah.
Got fixed up. The firefighter going in to save the life, nothing. Just
there's some crazy stories.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Happens
stories.
all the time.
It's standard operating procedure.
Yeah, that's unbelievable. For standard operating procedure to be that when your job is to go rescue people, but you can't get any help.
And like we said, it's not the fire department itself.
Right.
It's the system, and that's if we can help change some of that.
Yeah.
That's our goal. That's what we want. I can attest that y'all agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Agreed.
Help
100%.
somebody not have to go through what everybody before us has gone through. Let's do something different because this isn't working.
Yeah. Obviously, it ain't working. Clearly.
So,
there's no way that works. It's got to be something done. It's got to be something changed.
We might not make a change, but we're going to take a stab at it.
Yeah.
yeah.
We're gonna try.
There's no telling. I failed at a lot of things in my life, but I'm sure going to try hard.
Yeah. Put the effort in. Step number one is
and we need other guys to reach out to us. I mean, as this goes out,
yeah.
We've got Facebook, Instagram, so
Website.
send us messages.
Yeah, so you can reach out.
Yes, if you want your story told.
Man, if you just need
whatever.
somebody to talk to,
Right.
We aren't psychiatrists. I mean, we're just firemen. That's it.
Yeah.
But we've been through it.
Yeah. You got some insight and you've got the emotional part to be able to care for somebody. So if you want to reach out and get in more information, talk to somebody, you want to donate, if you want anything, reach out to us. It's forgottenfirefighters.com. There's a link on there to send an email to reach out. Our social media stuff, Josh, that's you.
Yeah. Forgotten Firefighters.
Yeah.
Facebook.
Facebook, Instagram. Yep. I'm pretty sure it's just Forgotten Firefighters on Instagram.
All the
I don't think
interwebs.
there's a one or anything on it.
Okay.
So this is all new,
It's all
Just
it's all
all
new.
new.
Like
but we're
the process
working
has
hard.
been happening. We're working hard. We're getting everything done. We're Forgotten Firefighters is a 501c3 in the state of Texas. All that is filed, sealed, and delivered. Like we are effectively here, and we're here to stay. So
Yep.
if you look up
For just Forgotten Firefighters. And you should be able to link from Facebook to the Instagram as well.
we can do that. So send a message, reach out, do something, send out a flare signal, something, and get in touch with us if you want to help us, you want to donate, if you need help, any of the above. We would love to speak with you. As we move forward, we just can't wait to share these stories and really get the public's attention to this and start pressing hard.